Hi, I'm Marin Bizdek, Historic Preservation Manager for the City of Fort Collins. Here in our downtown, we walk past buildings all the time that contain hidden stories from our community's past. This building to my right was the site of the State Theater in 1939. While it no longer looks like a theater today, it's the site of a really important local civil rights story that unfolded here 85 years ago and still ripples through time today. Mattie Lyle, a 36-year-old black woman who was one of a small group of local black residents living in Fort Collins in the 1930s, arrived with her daughter and a friend to enjoy a film. The State Theater owner, L.C. Snyder, denied them full access to the venue. Mattie sued Snyder for discrimination in Larimer County Court, won the case, and was awarded damages. Let's hear more about it from Mattie's granddaughter, Sharon, and her husband, David, who learned about this chapter in Mattie's life from a collaborative effort with the City of Fort Collins Historic Preservation Division and the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery.
So this opera house.
I think the story of Mattie's lawsuit for discrimination is valuable to us, and I think should be valuable to the people of Fort Collins, in that she was in a position where she was apparently wronged, and she decided to stand up and not just take it, even though taking it was probably the safer way to go.
I think for me, it kind of changes the dynamics of my family for me. My father has always been on the sort of activist side and equal rights and that side. And I grew up with that. I never in my whole life dreamed my grandmother did something, radical. So for me, it almost kind of gives balance to each side of my family.
The house behind me at 312 North Meldrum Street is where Mattie Lyle was living with her husband William Lyle and their daughter Joyce at the time of the State Theater incident in 1939. This was the heart of the early black neighborhood of Fort Collins, and the Lyle family lived here until they moved to Seattle during World War II. Mattie's granddaughter Sharon and her family marveled at seeing the family home for the first time.
I think probably one of the best feelings, kind of heartfelt feelings, was actually seeing the house. And that brought back, my mom actually lived there, I could kind of, because you see the pictures and they do something for you, but when you stand in front of the house where somebody grew up, that means a lot.
You stand on the yard where they played, and stand in places where photos were taken, and you can see William shoveling the sidewalk and, and your great-grandfather standing in front of the house, and all of those things, they just come to life when you're actually there.
Yeah.
The first we heard of it was when Marin contacted me through Ancestry, because she found Mattie in our family tree. And we've been impressed. We've come here partly because of the connection we've made through family history. And we've learned a lot of really good things about Fort Collins. And one of the valuable things about Fort Collins is that there does feel like there's a preservation of important things going on here.
Probably the other cool thing is, and the people that we talk to and have kind of discussed different things that we know and they know, and watching their faces when they discover something they never knew, like the bird whistles being the first visitors when my mom was born.
So I want to mention again how much gratitude I have for the City of Fort Collins, and I think it's a good investment by the City of Fort Collins to pay attention to not just black history, but history of marginalized people, and not necessarily old history. Some of it may be current. And the value to Fort Collins is not just feel good, the emotions and the, what are the sounds and where are things in relation to each other, not just looking at a map, but walking from one place to another and seeing where your ancestors walked and played, and that just adds so much.
I've really enjoyed it here.
Yeah, I agree.
It's nice to look at that. Hopefully the past that everyone's gone through has helped build it to what it is today, and that it can continue to grow and be a better place for all people.
Mattie's story didn't end with the resolution of her civil rights case against the State Theater or when the family moved away from Fort Collins. Her fight against injustice is an inspiration for us here today, and we have many more stories of early Fort Collins residents to uncover.